I'm glad we are in the same boat for this one because this is this is even just from like a fun perspective, fight of the year.
They try to drown me, I can swim upstream so profoundly. I can stay calm in a dire situation. I'm at it every day, no time for a vacation. And I smell blood in the water. Everything I do, yeah, I do it for my daughters. Now I'm gonna shut your lips. It's time for a brand new episode of what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, say what? We talking jit, said it's time for a brand new episode of Talking Jit.
And welcome to UFC 299. Jaxsen,
Yeah. How's it going? Hey guys, what's going on?
what's going on? Thanks for doing this again, dude.
Of course.
You killed it last time. I'm still I was so wrong. I gotta be honest.
Oh.
My last prediction sucked.
Yeah.
But I'm here to rebound. I did a little bit more research this time. Hopefully I'm not overcorrecting the ship because I don't like losing. But congrats on getting them right more than me last time.
Hey, I'm just here. I just work here.
I just work here. Shit, man. Getting right into it. I think that this card, honestly, has me more hyped than UFC 300. And I think the matchups on the card, the more like I look at them, like are just fucking great matchmaking. I'm like really stoked for this.
Yeah, there's some really good matchmaking on this card. I feel like I don't know if I'm more excited for this than I am 300 just because of the significance that 300 has,
Mhm.
but this is like the perfect appetizer. Like this is getting you so ready for 300. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it is kind of bold to put like such a nice card like this right before it because if 300
Yeah.
doesn't live up to the hype,
Mm,
you're coming off of 299, which to me has potential to be like card of the year. I'm going there. That's my bold.
okay. Oh wow.
Um,
Out the gate.
out the gate, bro. I'm just hyped for this card. There's just a couple fights on here that I'm just like, wow. Um, the first one we have, dude, Piotr Jan, and your guy right here.
Oh
Your,
yeah.
your guy. Go ahead.
Song Yadon, man. It's pretty simple. It's exactly as it looks.
I suck at names, bro. I gotta get better. But yeah, dude, the cool thing about this fight is like if you just look down the card, dude, it's like so similar. 136 pounds, 67-inch reach, 38-inch leg reach. Um, you've got China versus Russia right here, and who doesn't want to see that, right? Am I right?
Right.
Um, Piotr Jan is a slight favorite
Okay.
coming off a loss. Man, I personally always have so much faith in Piotr Jan. I don't know what's going on with I feel like he gets screwed a lot and they just kind of hanging in there. The dude's got such patience. and
Yeah.
that being said, right out the gate, dude, I wanna back my boy up. I want to back up Piotr Jan. I just think he's like so well rounded. He always comes to fight. He's takes it serious, and I just feel like he's shown that he's like he can hang with anyone in the top of the division.
For sure.
He's fought
Absolutely for sure. One of the best boxers in the UFC. And it's like a sneaky, like you don't think of him and go, oh, Russian guy, boxer.
right, and he hangs with the best. I mean, like
Yeah.
any one of the guys who's been either a recent champ in the division or even had a chance, he's at least been right there with them, just
Yup.
squeaking out slight losses. It's not like he gets owned. And for that reason, it's hard for me in this fight to go against him. The other dude looks like a veteran. I mean, dude, he's got. I don't know very much about him. I'll be honest. I don't have as much like intel as I do on Piotr Jan. I've been watching
Hmm.
him forever, but 21 fights and 7 losses. I mean, that's a lot of fights. That's not like an amateur. That's not like a guy who he's probably seen a lot.
Yeah.
But I think that Piotr Jan is coming in to avenge a loss, and I just think he has the skills to get it done. What do you think?
I actually have the other pick on this one.
Really?
I have Sonya Dong picked. Um, purely off of record. Piotr Jan is on a decline. He's lost his last three fights. Yes, there were decisions, but his last fight was a unanimous decision loss to Merab Dvalishvili, guy going for the title next. And after losing to Aljamain again for that second time, obviously this time because of a decision, not because of the whole knee situation.
Right.
Bit different for Peter Yan, and then to lose a very close fight to Sean O'Malley is was huge, and really he had to come back for that and show that he was able again, and then he lost to Merab in a decisive victory for Merab. So that's my take on Piotr Yan there. But let it be said, amazing grappling, amazing boxing, very well-rounded fighter. So cannot count him out. But if I'm going picks, I'm going on Song Yadong, who has 2 wins in his last 3 fights, as opposed to Peter Yan, who is 0-3 in his last 3 fights. Now, the level of talent that Song Yadong has beat, much different than the level of talent that beat Peter Yan, but it puts both these guys on an even playing field where they're probably fighting for number 1 in the rankings, if not contender for the belt, aside from like Merab and Volk getting the shot again.
Right.
Or not Volk, I'm sorry, Merab and
Aljamain,
yeah, getting the shot again. So
what a stacked division right now. I mean, you got
this is
people knocking out the door of the champ. Like, there's no shortage of potential to take the belt. It's interesting. It's interesting perspectives we have, because my outlook is he's fought the best in the division. He hangs with them. Some of those losses are controversial, dude. I mean,
yeah,
him versus Sean
sure.
O'Malley, you could almost say that marketing won that fight.
I 100% agree. I am. You will learn later in the night how I feel about Sean O'Malley. So,
and then Aljamain Sterling, dude, that fight with Piotr Jan, man, I'm just gonna say it. That goes down the thing that I always argue, is just like, you can backpack somebody for 8 minutes out of the fight, but if you don't do any damage, and you weren't able to get the finish, and Jan finished every one of those rounds on his feet after taking body triangles and throwing punches when he should be protecting his neck. Like, that just showing that he's like the type of guy that's like not gonna settle. He's not gonna just sit there in a bad position. If he sits there long enough, he's gonna take risk. And I just think that I'm not saying this one is one that I feel strongly on, and hopefully I don't eat my words. But yeah, so my perspective is just like, this is one of the underdogs in the division, like one of the black sheep. And
good stuff.
And hopefully Song Yadong, hopefully we have a good fight, and maybe he's got like win streak. But if he ends up beating Piotr Jan, then he's someone to look at, someone that's going to be on the map for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, Song Yadong is a sneaky guy again. Like his resume not as good as Peter Yan's, but both these guys have been in the UFC for quite a long time, 5+ years for each of these guys. So they know what they're doing, and they both come from different backgrounds, both strikers. So it'll be fun to watch.
Let's get it. And then
excuse me.
Rolling into the next fight, I'll let you lead this one.
Ooh, Burns and Jack Della Maddalena, Australian guy versus Brazilian guy. Love to see crazy, weird matchups like this. Obviously, both these guys are killers, and Jack Della Maddalena is probably one of the most watched. Like, I don't even know if you can call him a prospect anymore, but one of the most watched new guys in the UFC for sure. Only having 2 losses on his record, and those 2 losses were his first 2 MMA fights ever. So to go on a 16-fight win tear and then continue that after making into the UFC to get to 16 wins is really good. So this is going to be a really great fight, especially with the fights that Gilbert Burns has had recently. Pick wise, not so sure. What do you think pick wise?
I'm going with Gilbert Burns pick wise.
Gilbert?
Yeah, I just feel like very similar to Merab. Gilbert Burns is just such a freaking beast, talented. very durable, very tough. Um, the dude works hard. He is coming off of a loss as well.
Yes.
Um, I think this is going to be a really good fight. I think
I agree 100. This is going to be a barn burner.
yes, that's the way I see it going down. I just think, dude, I mean, it's kind of been a while. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been a while since Gilbert got a KO, right? Got
That he got a finish. It looks like
like
his
a
last finish was in January of last year. Actually, he got an arm triangle on Neil Magny.
right. So I think if they're throwing punches, man, and that's kind of how I see this one going.
Mhm.
I kind of see this one going a little bit of everywhere, a little bit of slugging, a little bit of like, hey, I need a takedown, and like
Yep.
I think this is going to be the fight of the night that goes all over the place. I feel like most of these fights are going to be stand up, where this
Yep.
one a little bit on the main card is all over the place. But I just think Gilbert Burns has it. I think he's fought the best. I do believe he's had gosh, what's his face? The ex champ. Why can't I think of it? I'm going blank right now. Uh, the Nightmare. Um,
I'm blanking with you, man. I'm sorry. I'm looking at his record. For Burns, you're saying?
yeah, he's had
Usman.
Usman. He's worked with Usman in this camp,
Okay.
and I just think like if you're looking at Gilbert Burns, what else could help boost him other than like Usman, wrestling
Right.
technique wise and strategy, you know? And I just kind of see Gilbert Burns having the better strategy and studying and having a better game plan than this guy, and I just think that's what's going to edge it out.
I think that that's a really, really good take. I might just piggyback with you on this one. I'd love to see, I think that what this fight is as well, again, is either for next contender for the belt or at least, if not, then this is for the number one ranking. In my opinion, for this division, this welterweight division that was a little stagnant and was just constantly having the same guys fighting for the belt. Now that Usman lost twice to Leon, and Colby is probably likely not going to get another fight, at least for the belt. This is likely who's going after the belt next. Obviously, Bilal Muhammad is in the conversation there as
Right.
well. I mean, that's who beat Gilbert Burns last. So, pardon me. This is just one of those tough ones where what's going to determine this is the fight itself. And that's kind of how this stuff is kind of the whole point of this, right? Who wins the fight is who wins. So I think that my pick is also Gilbert Burns. Someone with a style that I love. Again, another sneaky good boxer. Obviously his background is jujitsu, but sneaky good striking.
Yeah, and like I know people feel like a little bit all over the place with him versus Hamzat,
Mm-hmm.
but like I think Hamzat's hands were underrated that fight.
Yes.
And I think that like it showed that one Hamzat's hands were good, but it also showed that Gilbert Burns' hands were really good too.
Uh,
And
yeah, that's probably one of my favorite fights in recent memory.
oh,
That was an amazing fight. So good.
that's like one of them fights where you're like, man, I got respect for both dudes. And
Oh,
it
for
was
sure.
really pivotal. It showed that Hamzat could endure like a barn burner, and it showed that it also showed that Gilbert isn't like one that's just gonna go down no matter who you
Yep.
throw. Yeah, so that's I mean that's who I'm going with for this one. And his camp just looked insane. I looked into Gilbert's camp a little bit just because
Okay.
they're local to Florida, so I like to
Right.
kind of peep the gyms, and I think that I was pretty impressed with his camp. And I think what is it? Jack came in from Australia, right?
Yep, he's coming out of Australia. I don't know if it's the same camp that um, Volk comes out of, but obviously you see an Australian guy now, you just think Volk. So
He's had a little bit of traveling to do, and he's had a little bit of traveling to do. This is in freaking Burns's backyard.
right, this is in Miami. Yeah, I guess yeah, home turf advantage.
So I think that just kind of just him having the vibe and all the locals and he seems like a vibe dude. He's very welcomed around there, and I just think that like I just as much as I respect Jack Della Maddalena, I think that Gilbert edges this out.
And I think I'm with you on that 100%.
And dude, the only thing next to do, bro, is to roll into what I think is going to be the fucking fight of the night. This
I I can't tell you how excited I am for this fight.
I am more
It,
excited for this fight than like any of the other fights, and I think
I
that
I'm so with you. I'm so with you. I'm glad we are in the same boat for this one because this is this is even just from like a fun perspective, fight of the year.
right. They're so creative. They're like the same fucking dude.
Yes,
Like
they're
they're
they're funny and they're exciting and
Naruto
they're
the Shadow.
killers. Yes.
Um, this one I like. This is when you text me and you said I think you mentioned this fight earlier. I was like,
Yes.
I've been stuck on this one all day. Uh,
Yeah.
this could easily be the headliner. It would probably pull just as many,
100%.
not more people. Um, did you make a pick? Did you
I,
figure it out?
I think this was the one that I was not so sure of. It was this one and then the Gilbert Burns one. So
Okay.
I'm not so sure, but I think I have my pick. Um, but let's talk about the fighters first, and then
Yeah.
let's get our picks. Let's keep this going.
Okay. Okay. For sure. I'll let you start.
Um, I'm gonna start with Kevin Holland just because he's the one that's a little less exciting, obviously, but not by a lot. He's such an exciting fighter, simply just because he's like, oh shoot, you guys need me to fight, I'm there. Like he's just that guy. 10 years ago, when the UFC was really in a company man, he would be their number one promotion.
He
But
he loves fighting.
he loves fighting, and like he just has fun with it. And I don't want to say he doesn't take it seriously, but it's more that he's like, yeah, I'm just here to fight and put on a show, and that's at the end of the day what this whole is thing's about.
Think about
uh
Wonder Boy when he fought Wonder Boy, bro.
yes.
He wouldn't fight on the ground because he knew he had the advantage. He made like a deal like to keep it standing.
Yup.
He lost the fight, and I think he had every chance, especially in the beginning of the fight,
Yes.
to possibly win the fight on the ground. And he would
Yes.
just stand back up and let them keep it on the feet. That says like a lot about his like showmanship.
Yes.
The dude's just a martial artist.
He's such a, yeah, and he's such a martial artist. His resume is like also sneaky good. Like the guys that he has fought and the level of challenge that he has had is really good. Um, he's fought the best of the welterweight division since 2019 ish,
Yes,
and he was also in the middleweight division for a little bit.
and he has some of the coolest fuck. Like his highlight reel is, I
Yes,
know you can't like MVP has such a sick knockout reel, but
yes,
Holland, bro, knocking people out from his back. Remember, he was on his back and he threw a punch up, knocked the dude out, and punched him while he was getting back to his feet. Was his flurrying on him?
yes. That's an awesome fight.
The Joaquin Buckley knockout. I mean, dude,
Yes,
he's. I remember. What did this guy look like? He had a rear naked choke on him. Kevin Holland just looking around with his thumbs up and smiling at people. Like he's just an exciting dude to watch. Um, like you said, his resume is pretty sneaky. He's got really fucking cool, like a really cool stand up style, but he's also a black belt in jiu jitsu.
yes, he is, and I think he has a background in like wushu kung fu as well, or something weird like that.
Ah, that might be the funkiness, dude.
For sure, he just has that that martial artist in him, you know.
The exciting thing is to watch because both these guys are tall, they're both lanky, they're both creative, and
Hmm.
both deceivingly like strong. Um,
Yes.
to watch, it's going to be interesting to watch these guys figure out how to get in on each other and reach
Hmm.
each other because, I mean, dude, Kevin Holland has an 81-inch reach, which is long as hell,
Hmm.
and Michael Venom Page has a 79-inch reach, which is still long, but so they're the reach is long, so they can reach each other without having to get in close. But just to watch them set each other up is just going to be awesome.
It's gonna be a masterclass of fun and a great fight.
And I think no matter what, at the end of this fight, I'm going to want to watch them run it back.
Yep,
If it comes out and
I
someone
agree.
out right away, I'm going to want to watch it again. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
um, fucking MVP, dude. I mean,
Oh man, this is so exciting. This is something people have wanted for years, and it's happened. MVP in the UFC is real, guys, and we're about to see
So what's your take on this? Like, does he come and does he see the level is different than you thought, or do you think he's able to handle this?
I think with just like how much experience he has and who he is, I don't think it really matters. Like he's had such great experience, even in another division, even in another league, um, and he's just been such a dominant and a consummate professional. Um, so many like you go through his record, and it's just so many finishes. I
Oh,
think he has what what's that? 16 of his wins by finish and 5 by decision. That's crazy for his record.
oh yeah.
And now he's here in the UFC, the one that everybody gets their eyes on. You know,
Hmm.
Bellator falling apart. Now it's a split league with the PFL. Um, so the UFC got who they wanted. I think they got him. They got Kayla Harrison from PFL.
Yeah.
Um,
So, and it's kind of crazy he didn't go that route. It's kind of crazy he hopped over to UFC.
right. And I think I know he's done some work with some guys in the UFC, like training camp wise and stuff. He's known these guys, so I'm sure everybody was like, "Oh man, you gotta come to the UFC, bro. Like, come fight with us, man." You know. So I'm super excited to see this. And I think everybody is. Like you said, this could easily be a headliner. If not for a Vegas card, a numbered card at a championship, I could see this being the headliner.
Yeah,
Um,
dude.
this is such
And
a good fight.
I can't. And I think the problem with making this call has been like I can't like sit here and say like, oh man, this guy's got such a good jab. This guy's got such a good right hand, because
Mm,
both the dudes striking is like so good. Like they both have good distance management. They both have Kevin Holland's got a really good right hand, like straight right. Um, Michael Venom Page can kick from anywhere. It's like so hard to picture how this fight is gonna go, and I think that's what makes it like so exciting because you're gonna have to watch these guys come out, and it's not like you're gonna be like, oh, this guy's gonna come out and just jab his way and keep the distance, and he's gonna want to keep him off of him. Like it's gonna be like, well, how the hell does this fight go? That's what draws
yep.
me in. Um, I and it's man, it's such a hard fight. The odds, there's literally no odds. I'm not getting any odds. Do you have any odds in front of you?
No, I don't. I've only got records right now.
I don't think I've ever seen that where it says odds and it's two. Um,
Yeah. So I'm going with my pick. I'm ready to say it. I'm ready to bite the bullet and say that I think MVP takes this.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Yeah. Um,
I, I, I feel the same.
okay. Okay.
I don't know why. I think, I think it goes back to what we were saying earlier. Kevin Holland is like a martial artist and he likes fighting. And man, I feel like Michael Venom Page hunts for the win, where
I know exactly what you mean.
Kevin Holland hunts for the fight. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I
Uh,
think the only reason why I would pick MVP. But that does not mean by any chance that Kevin Holland will not catch him.
yeah. I mean, this is gonna be. Oh, pardon the yawn. I promise I'm not bored. I'm so excited. I think I'm just ready to go to sleep for 5 days and wake up when this fight's on.
Let's
uh,
go.
this is gonna be so exciting. I can't wait to watch this one, and I can't wait to see MVP get a win. What makes this even more exciting is that there's a chance that MVP, beats Kevin Holland here, beats his next fighter, and now he gets a chance at the championship versus another Brit, Leon Edwards.
Oh, that would be
Now
so.
that is marketing.
Yeah, now that is marketing. MVP, yeah, they can't let him come in and lose his debut.
Nah,
They,
you
dude,
know,
I mean, it's so hard to make this pick. It could go either way. I kind of want to say MVP because I feel like he's ready. He wants to come in and he's so creative and he's got such weird angles.
mm-hmm.
It's hard. It's very, very hard for me to count Kevin Holland out.
I
And I
kind
don't
of
want
agree.
I don't want either one of these dudes to lose, but I'm gonna go with MVP just because when in doubt, I go with the marketing and I go with the hype.
I 100% get it, but the record speaks for itself as well. 21-2, 25-10. I think that if you're looking at this from a pure numbers perspective, if you're just a bettor who doesn't watch fights, who just bets money, you would go with Page based on record, right?
Yeah. This is very true. Now, this next one, Dustin Poirier versus Benoit Saint Denis. I thought this was going to be the other one you had a hard time with. I didn't think
As
you had a hard time with Gilbert Burns.
Yeah, as much as I do have my pick on this one, it's still just kind of uninspired, I'll say.
Really?
Mm.
Now you got me yawning. My bad.
I'm not as familiar with Benoit Saint Denis' game as I am with Dustin Poirier's, um, just because both these guys have different levels of stardom um, in the sport. So Poirier definitely way more in the limelight than Benoit Saint Denis is, but not for any specific reason. So
Saint,
this one is gonna
Saint,
be good.
which is crazy to me.
Say that again.
Saint Denis is the favorite.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's just because the way that Poirier's looked in his last couple, not terrible, but
Yeah, and I think what comes into play is like a durability factor. I think that like
mhm.
some of these guys have so many fights, and once they lose a couple, it's very hard to start rebounding and becoming a winner again.
Yes,
Um,
Father Time stays undefeated.
right, and especially when like Poirier's always fought the best of the best. So it's not like he's had an easy fight in years.
Nope.
And including this fight. I mean, this ain't gonna
Yeah, yeah.
be at all. So I think that's where I start thinking maybe the odds come into play on that.
Hmm.
This one is very hard for me too. That's why I'm kind of stoked that like you were having a hard time with Gilbert Burns because you might have to carry me on this one with you because they're both so good. They both got a lot of power. They're both got good wrestling. They're both good everywhere. It's just like it's almost again to me. I feel it's very similar to the last fight we just talked about. They're very like evenly matched.
Right. And I think for this one, I'm looking at record. I'm looking at history. Um, no, I will admit not as familiar with Benoit Saint Denis, and I would expect that most people looking at this card are probably least familiar with him out of everybody on this list.
Hmm.
Um, so at least I feel in in the right similar hands as everybody else. But when I pull up records, Benoit Saint Denis is on a 4 fight win streak, and they're all finishes. Uh, he hasn't seen a third round since his first loss, which his first loss wasn't even until he made it to the UFC. So he made it all the way through his European tear, all the way up through 2021 until he had his first loss. Um, and losses don't mean much when you're an active fighter, and he's an
Hmm.
active fighter. So having him come on now, and this is his biggest challenge by far. When this is probably Poirier's, I won't say it's his weakest challenge, but his non-namey challenge in a while. It's been a while since Poirier's fought anybody that isn't, oh, you see that name and you're like, oh my god, he fought him. Oh my god, he fought him. So this is going to be interesting, and this might just be this is either going to be Father Time stays undefeated, or this is going to be, uh, you know, reps in the cage are how you win fights.
Right. Um.
So my pick though, because you said you were still a little not unsure on this one,
Right.
is gonna be Dustin Poirier.
Jackson down for Dustin Poirier.
I am,
So
I am.
now that you said that, he's still here's some things to consider. Dustin Poirier is still considered number 3 in the division.
Yep.
Um, which is very high up there. If you look at like the win by ratings, uh, Saint Denis has won 69% of his fights by submission and
Okay.
31% by TKO.
Right.
Dustin Poirier is not an easy person to submit, and he has a pretty good chin. I don't think he has a glass jaw or anything yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and then you move over to like significant strikes. Um, Saint Denis has absorbed an average of 5 significant strikes per minute. Dustin Poirier has absorbed 4%. Four.
Okay.
So it's looking like if you want to go by statistics and data, um, And then I'll move over to the grappling side. Justin Poirier or Dustin, sorry, Dustin Poirier's takedown defense is 63%, and Saint Denis' takedown accuracy is 36%.
Ooh, that's not great.
Right.
So he's defending 1/3 or 2/3 of all takedown attempts, and Saint Denis is only making 1/3 of all of his takedown attempts.
Yeah. So I think with
Excuse me.
Dustin's grappling and the fact that uh, Benoit Saint Denis seems like he favors submissions and takedowns, it as heavy handed as this guy is, I think that's his shot is to land the bomb on Dustin Poirier,
Right,
who also has some of the best boxing in the sport right now.
right.
Uh, so when I look at like those statistics, and I try to match them up with the fighters, man, it seems like the ground game. It's going to be hard for him to implement a ground game, and I think Dustin's stand up is going to be just as good as this guy's. Uh, I lean towards, and it's weird because Saint Denis is favored, probably because, and that's another factor that brings me,
Mhm.
that kind of confuses me, is because I would say Dustin Poirier for sure, but Saint Denis being 13-1, he's on the up and up, and it's all finishes. It says a lot when you have fighters that win by like all finishes, whether it's like jiu-jitsu competitions, they have a high sub rate.
Right.
It's just a whole nother level of dominance than it is like grinding people out for 3 rounds, 4 rounds.
Mhm.
Like it's like this guy comes in and just finds a way to win. Um, very scary dude. I think he's ex special forces. He's not going to be a bitch. He's going to be a tough.
Ooh, ex special forces. I
I
do
believe.
see that. I
Yeah,
see that. I see that on his wiki page. Yep, it says he was a first Marine infantry paratrooper for the French Army Special Forces. Wow.
yeah. So this guy's definitely got the mentality down. He doesn't seem nervous at all. It's hard for me to count Dustin Poirier out, man. Even though the odds are to Saint Denis, I think I think I'm gonna lean towards. I still haven't the right way to put it, man. Like this is again, I'm like in this almost the same exact boat as a Michael Venom Page and Kevin Holland fight,
Hmm.
where I'm like, I just know I have just as much of a chance of getting it wrong as I do right. But I want to go with Dustin Poirier.
Okay,
I don't think he
I'm with you there.
I don't think he's done yet. I think he's a vet. I think he's seen it all. He's dealt with guys who hit hard. He's got the chin for it. You're not going to land that Justin Gaethje kick on him again, you know.
Yeah.
So I think that unless he catches like one of Benoit Saint Denis' bombs and goes down, I don't think Saint Denis is going to just steamroll him.
And I agree. And I agree.
All right, dude. And this one, I
Main
want to
event.
I want to hear what you think about Sean O'Malley.
Well, why don't we go talk about one fight on the prelim card before we get to the main event,
Yeah.
just for a little bit of tension, right? Make it the last one to talk about. There's a sneaky good fight on the prelim card. Uh, Mateusz Gamrot versus Rafael dos Anjos.
Thank you for putting that out, dude. Because I looked at that and I looked at the Pedro Munez,
Okay, yeah, yeah,
but I'm glad you brought up the Gamrot versus Rafael dos Anjos, because that's one that I looked at and I was like, damn, that's an undercard, and it's like an undercard.
yes, it is. And this is an exciting one. Gamrot is one of those guys like if he was fighting under a different flag, I think they would absolutely be promoting the hell out of him. Um, and I think that's really what it's boiling down to, and why he's not getting the respect. And maybe they're also just not giving him the right uh, competition level. But his last couple fights have been against named guys that people recognize. 2 wins, 1 loss in his last 3 fights. Um, he's looking really good. He's a wrestler. His background is in wrestling. Um, and I think that's going to be really exciting to see against RDA,
Dude,
veteran, legend, former
90
champ, right?
defense.
Uh, so this is exciting. This is like a sneaky good fight on the card. Again, one of those ones that's like if you threw this as like a main event of like a fight night, it would absolutely make sense. So I think this is This is probably my sneaky pick for the card, and I have to go with Mateusz Gamrot, probably by decision on this one. But I want to talk about that before we talk about the main card.
So you're pointing out Gamrot.
I am.
I have to actually write this in my card because Jaxsen pulled a fast one on me right now, dude.
Yeah.
If I look at his grappling, bro, he has a 90% takedown defense.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
He's a great wrestler.
ESP. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I've even seen anything like that since back in the day. Like these guys are like, if you look at their records and their like statistics, their data, bro, they're like neck and neck and everything. Sub pretty close. Their decision victories pretty close. Their significant strikes. I mean, dude, Gamrot in his career is 50%. Dos Anjos has 47%.
That's basically the same number.
Yeah. Landed per minute, 2.97 and 3.5. So he's landing like half a strike more per minute in the cage, which is like
that's a lot. That's a lot, especially for the amount of fights that both these guys have had.
Exactly.
Well,
yeah.
These guys are not like one guy's not like 5-1 versus some dude that's like 12-4. This is 23-2 versus 32-15.
I look at Gamrot, dude. And like it sucks because RDA is like such a legend. It's so skilled. But I think that I would lean towards him.
Yeah.
If I was a betting man, which I'm not promoting betting, but sometimes I get a little crazy. I'd probably go. Actually, you know what? Now I'm looking at the odds. Gamrot's a pretty decent favorite. So if I was a betting man, I might put money on RDA because he could definitely pull it off.
Right.
But I think that Gamrot gets that one.
So do I, and I'm excited for that one. I think that's a really good. That could easily be the featured bout as well over Blades Almeida, which not anything special in my opinion.
Yeah, I do like seeing like Curtis Blades fight sometimes, but he's got a cool name to put out there. But I agree. When I like scroll down the list and I saw Pedro Munez versus Kyler Phillips, and I saw RDA versus Gamrot, I'm like, damn. Like, what a way to like drop that down.
For real. So true.
But I feel like they always do that. I feel like they got to keep you interested to get some eyes in the prelims.
Yeah.
They put maybe the marketing strategy is if they put those guys that low, you'll tune in earlier.
True. Yeah.
That's the only thing I think of.
Yeah, I mean they start this one on. This is the free one on ESPN before you have to pay. So they do try to make these pretty decent.
Yeah, and a lot of times, dude, the prelims are friggin' awesome.
Yeah, the prelims are great. That's where that's where everybody gets their start. So.
Oh man. So do we circle back?
I think we're on to the main fight, the title fight.
Oh man, tell me how you feel about Sean O'Malley. He's sparking.
I don't like him, man. I follow him on Instagram. I don't like him, man. That's as far as I'll go. I like I like good marketing. I like that he's very marketing about himself. But man, do I hate a guy that's like, he didn't beat me. I didn't lose. I'm 18-0.
I agree with you there. I see Cheeto's point. He's actually like on the UFC embeddeds. He's actually like even said he's like, you got hurt in the cage. I'm not, I beat you in the cage, and it's cool because Vera's mindset is like I have no animosity towards him.
Right.
And Sean O'Malley, I respect Sean O'Malley for wanting to avenge his loss, because as like an athlete, like there's two types of people, right? There's the people who lose and make excuses, like is what you're talking about.
Yep.
But then at the same damn time, there's the people who lose and want to avenge that loss, and it doesn't affect them,
Right.
It makes them stronger, it makes them go back in harder. So I always have respect for the person who chooses that path, but it is kind of weird because he's playing both.
Yes, he very much is. He still is like, I didn't lose. I'm 18-0. And like that could just be him playing character, playing heel, hoping, Vince sees him and gets him in the next, WrestleMania. But it's so unfortunate to watch. And his coach that looks like Canelo always surprises me as well.
It's kind of they're like kind of like a weird team, like
Yeah,
two stoners that like it's like how do you guys come up with this shit?
I know. How
Like
do you coach
y-
a championship winning fighter when you're like that?
yeah, you're just like it's very interesting that they're like, oh yeah, we're just friends and we started training together, and then he's just like my coach, and it's like and you guys just somehow come up with the win. Okay, like I got respect for it. And I get it. Like I got respect for O'Malley, and there is like a part of me that likes to watch him and
Mhm.
sometimes roots for him. But then there's also a part of me who's like, yeah, he says some dumb shit.
Yeah.
But fight wise, very skilled, very good striking. In the Cheeto fight, the last Cheeto fight, and I know this was 2020, so we're 4 years down the road now, completely different fighters by this point.
Hmm.
I think O'Malley was like clearly, you know, starting off that first round as like, where he wanted to be. And I think he clearly was like showing his striking was better. And Cheeto was like
Hmm.
still finding his range and his pace up until O'Malley got hurt. But Cheeto at the same time is usually a slow starter. He usually takes a couple rounds to start finding his rhythm. He's like a late fight type of dude.
Right.
So I think Sean is gonna come in, and I think he knows how to beat Cheeto. I
Okay.
don't I don't think that he would be spending his whole career bitching about Cheeto every fight, even though he's fighting someone in front of him. He's always talking about that fight. If he wasn't so actually confident that he knows how to beat him, and I think that O'Malley is probably going to come out the first couple rounds and set the pace. And I think that it will be like a classic. Like if O'Malley doesn't get the win in the first couple rounds or first 2 or 3 rounds, like clear dominance, I think that Cheeto will start kind of coming back and putting in winning rounds.
Right.
Che- Cheeto's got like he. The only thing that worries me about Cheeto is he fights very like traditional. Like he's pretty square.
Hmm.
He's pretty like traditional boxing, like traditional angles, straight down the pipe. You know what I mean?
I know
He
exactly what you mean. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
he a lot of times wins his fights by timing and footwork. And I think that O'Malley is faster and has really good footwork. And I think he's more creative. And I think that for someone, when you learn to fight, you get like, say you're learning boxing. Someone's going to teach you boxing, and you're going to learn from the jab, from the straight, from the hook, from the uppercut. But
Hmm.
so a lot of times when people have really good traditional technique, um, that's what you've trained your whole life against. So it's easier to read. Does that make sense?
I know. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like you learn the basics, and as you're learning the basics, you learn how to beat the basics.
Exactly. And
And it's the tricky stuff. I think I don't know. I saw it in a Stephen Thompson video. I'm sure someone else said it though. Um, he said something like a tricky technique is just a wrong technique done correctly.
pretty much, like when you throw those awkward looping hooks or those overhands and they land, like Michael Venom Page is a good example. Like he's got crafty kickboxing and shit, and it's stuff that you don't spend your career training against.
Yeah,
And you have to find some guy who throws random kicks like that to spar for 3 months, um, and try to imitate that. Which how do you imitate that if you haven't spent your whole life fighting like that?
yep.
So it to me, it's kind of like a traditionalist versus like a funky fighter. And funky fighters, I feel like, tend to do well against a traditional fight style because that's what they're used to fighting.
Yeah, I mean it's like one of those things where it's like, and even you can look at it from just like a stance perspective, right? Like southpaws traditionally do better against orthodox, and orthodox do against southpaw fighters, and that's pure boxing. Grappling changes everything because weight on the front leg and takedowns, kicks, whatever. But like pure boxing, like southpaw fighters are used to fighting orthodox fighters. Most orthodox fighters are not used to fighting southpaw fighters. So when you take that to the next level of like someone's fluidity and their funkiness and their creativity, like you're saying, it really just becomes a different animal.
Right. And not to say that like Cheeto is basic, but
Right.
he's a really good striker. He's a beast. And like he's dangerous, but I just think that like in my head, he's kind of like a good matchup for O'Malley.
Right. And this is really good to see. I think you said it that this is guys that have fought 4 years in the past. So there's been tons of development between both these guys, especially in their records and who they fought. Um, from a pure name perspective, Cheeto has fought the more recognizable fighters than Sean O'Malley has.
Really?
I don't want to say Sean O'Malley's been fed cans, but not Peter Yan. Cheeto Vera has fought since he fought O'Malley. He's fought Jose Aldo, Davey Grant, who I'm not familiar with, Frankie Edgar, Rob Font, who's another great boxer, Dominic Cruz, obviously a name and a legend of the sport, and then he lost to Corey Sandhagen, and then he beat Pedro Munoz. Um, so I mean, the resume is in Cheeto's favor, where the pure skill I think is in O'Malley's favor. So this is one of those ones again where it's like, does I don't want to say father time, but does ring experience and the level of competition hold victorious, or is it can you just beat that with pure skill?
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you a question. Who do you think O'Malley would be fighting if it wasn't Cheeto right now?
If O'Malley was fighting anybody that wasn't Cheeto, I'm not gonna lie, I have to look at the rankings, but I don't see it being Aljamain. I don't see it being Corey Sandhagen. So it'd have to be somebody else in that top few.
You couldn't do Marab because he just fought.
Right.
You couldn't do Cejudo because he just lost.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the rematch with Sterling would be the only one they could sell.
Right.
And that's about it. Like Sandhagen, maybe, but it'd be kind of like, what do we do? So I think that like Cheeto has this fight because O'Malley picked it. Is kind of like the point I'm going at.
I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The other crazy thing, dude, is I'm looking at like the statistics again. Remember we're talking about landed per minute, significant
Yes, sir.
7.25 by O'Malley, significant strikes landed per minute. Cheeto Vera has 4, and 61% of O'Malley's punches are significant strikes.
Hmm.
So he's I mean, Cheeto Vera is 50%, which is still pretty high. But Cheeto, I keep saying Cheeto Marlon Vera has absorbed 5 per minute, where O'Malley has absorbed 3.5 per minute. So the striking statistically is like favoring O'Malley. He's 75% KO rate. I mean, average fight time O'Malley 8 minutes and 45 seconds. Cheeto Vera 12 minutes and 54 seconds. So I mean,
And that's what I was saying with like his like experience in the actual like in the ring in the octagon. Like
Mhm.
does that beat skill? Does skill beat experience?
you know, uh, it's crazy because I think that like Marlon Vera has like a really cool laid back mentality
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to it, and he's a very likable guy. He's like someone to be like, man, such a cool, humble champion.
Right.
He has always said that what has kept him from the belt is social media because he's not like a big social media guy. He's like he doesn't look at life as comments and likes. He looks at life as just like enjoy it. Um, and I think I kind of agree with him. Like he doesn't promote himself as much, which is what has kept him out of this position. And the only reason why he's in this position is because O'Malley wants to avenge that loss. Um, I'm leaning towards O'Malley in this fight, but my bold prediction is going to be that Cheeto goes after that ankle. Whether
Oh
it's
wow.
like I don't know if this counts as a bold prediction, but like I could see Cheeto going for like the testing out O'Malley's ankle and knee, either whether it's
Right.
like low teeps or low kicks or
Sure, sure.
you know
Are you saying that he's gonna oblique kick him and blow his kney out?
I
Boom.
see the oblique kick coming in at him. Like I could just why not? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, if it's legal, I don't know why they do it.
If
You know,
because
as long
if
as
you think about it, if it was nerve damage, yeah, it's been
yeah,
4 years, but he's been active. He's been training. We all know how training injuries go. They never really heal until you like
no,
stop.
yeah, and they said that I think they said in him and O'Malley in his camp said that in his last fight with Aljamain, he got hurt the week before the fight and he decided not to pull out.
Yeah, see, and I mean we know it. You get nagging injuries, they don't go away because we don't stop.
No, for real. Like especially like um O'Malley, who's also a great grappler. He's competed in high level grappling competitions and stuff too. So he definitely has some messed up fingers. So
Yeah,
uh,
and I think his grappling is probably a little bit more underrated.
yeah,
I
it
can't wait
is.
to get a fight where we can see his grappling a little bit. Actually, I mean, with Aljamain Sterling, it was pretty impressive, dude.
Yeah, that's
He had
true.
he had a few moments in that fight, if you remember correctly, where Aljamain Sterling looked like he had a takedown dead to rights and
Mm,
didn't get it. Like if you go back and rewatch that fight, there's a couple times where O'Malley went for punches while Aljamain with Sterling was, hip level and close.
hmm.
Pretty much gave Aljo a deep entry, and Aljo still couldn't get the takedown. So I look
Hey,
forward. I look forward to seeing him actually like going against a good grappler, which might be Marab
right, right.
after he wins this fight. What do you think?
I think that yeah, I think I pulled up the rankings. I think next is Marab, for sure. He's number one in the rankings right now. I think that no matter who wins this fight, that's who's going next. Marab. Some of that didn't take damage in his last fight, you know. And I think his team, what's that? The Sarah Longo team. They said like yeah, he basically fought three other rounds versus Aljamain in the training room before the fight, and he said they were just like going at it, like really training hard. And that's why he was so ready for Cejudo. So I
Mm,
think that Marab is probably the next challenger, no matter who wins this, even if it's a blowout, and they're like, oh, we need a rematch or whatever. So
can't believe
close.
he
I mean, a close fight.
can't believe he's like on the Zuckerberg's jockstrap.
I know.
Gosh, dude, never seen such a freaking like badass beta male in my life. Jumping on everyone's lap. He's my brother. I love him.
Yeah, the glazing is crazy.
Insane, insane. But who are you picking?
Um, really, I'm a hater, but I'm gonna pick O'Malley in this one. Um,
What's your? How do you see this fight going?
I see it going to decision. If I want to be honest, I think that Marlon's gonna do a really good job of just like not being beaten. Uh, he's never been finished in a fight at
Really?
any level. Yeah, yeah. All of his losses have been by decision. Um, so I see this fight going all the distance. But I see that probably Sean O'Malley comes out victorious, whether it's through points or through damage. I see it being Sean O'Malley's fight, especially because he like you said he wants this one back. It's like if I think if this was up to him, this wouldn't make him 17-1. This would make him truly, or this wouldn't make him 18-1. This would make him 17-0, in his opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a
Um,
good way to look at it.
so I think that's going to be really good. I think it's going to be a really good card. This is like you said it. This could easily be 300. Um, so I'm with you there. I think because I think your pick was similar. I think you're picking O'Malley from what you've said.
Yeah, I'll pick O'Malley. You didn't give a bold prediction.
Oh, bold prediction. I'll go back 2 fights then, and I'll pick that MVP knocks out Kevin Holland.
What?
Yeah, man, I'm expecting. I mean, Kevin Holland's somebody that has unfortunately been shown that he is very beatable, which sucks. But
Yeah,
but especially MVP, who's the UFC is first of all, UFC is going to promote. Second of all, uh, they're going to put him against Kevin Holland, who is beatable. I think that the UFC and for lack of a better way to put it is showing, hey, you can beat this guy, and let's see you beat him. So
I gotta put in a bold prediction, man.
my bold prediction is MVP with the KO, man. MVP with the KO.
Marlon Vera going after O'Malley's legs. Is that
I guess, man, you could say that. Oblique hit KO.
leg chopping? That's
Yeah,
what I'm.
just
It, but
which
yeah,
which is funny though, because speaking of MVP, his last win was by leg kick KO.
nah.
Yeah.
Against who?
I gotta pull it back up. I closed out of my window there. Let me pull him up. But I think it was against his last fight, which was in Bellator, against Goiti Yamauchi, was a TKO by leg kick.
Wow, I'm looking that up later. How did I not
It
know
was
that?
only 26 seconds into the first round.
Oh my goodness.
or maybe 26 seconds left in the first round. But
I feel better about picking him now.
yeah, yeah, his because MVP has only lost twice. Once was by decision, once was by KO, and he's only ever lost fighting for the belt.
Wow. Oh, dude, that's the card, man. And this
That's
is
the card.
I'm super excited to chill and watch this one. Like
Dude, me too. This is, you know what? This is in Miami. If this was in Tampa, I would go. If this was in Orlando, I would have went. This is a great card.
yeah.
Miami's a little far. It's a little pricey.
I wonder what. Yeah, I was gonna say. I wonder what tickets, especially in Miami.
Dude, it's probably crazy. I know that I looked at the prices for the Toronto card that they did. Oh my god, dude, that was expensive. Because for whatever reason, prices in Toronto for anything are wild. I was looking at their prices for their NHL All Star game because I knew that was going to be wild, and it was like to sit in nosebleeds, it was $600. Um, so I'm curious to see what Miami UFC fight ticket prices are, especially when a Miami guy is headlining it.
Is that? Oh wait, who's headline?
O'Malley, right? He fights out of Miami now.
Is he really?
I'm pretty sure. That's why he's repping all the pink and all the.
I thought he was like Phoenix and stuff.
Let me see. Let's see. Where does he fight out of? He trains in Arizona. My bad. My bad. I'm lying.
I couldn't let you get away with that, dude.
Yeah. Damn.
Let you have that.
Oh, is the podcast over? That's crazy.
Cut.
Yeah.
Well, shit, dude. That was fun.
That was fun. This is gonna be fun.
Thanks for running it back.
Of course, man. Back-to-back cards. I feel like I have to be on for the 300 one now, though. That's all I'm saying.
Are you putting in a request?
I mean, shit. Get me in there.
Let me get a Jaxsen down below if you need Jaxsen.
For real. For real.
If I get at least one person to message me or leave like a Jaxsen comment, I'll do it. I just need one.
Let's do it. Let's do it, man.
I get the most random comments. It's fun.
I feel like for 300 though, if we do, we record it in person.
Yeah, we should do that. I agree. I've got both the mics. I that's why I got both the mics to do these. I've done a couple of them in person, and those ones really good.
Yeah.
So, your request is granted.
Let's do it, man.
All right, brother. Well, shit. Have a good night. Thanks for talking shit.
Of course, of course.
I hope you guys agree, and I hope you guys let us know where I'm wrong because there's plenty of room lately for me to be wrong.
Don't listen to either of us. So if we ever didn't pick anybody, I think on the first fight we picked opposite people, pick a draw on that one because that's where that's going. We're both gonna be wrong. So
just bet the opposite of what I say, and you're pretty good. All right, dude. You have a good night.
You too, man. Thanks for having me.
Yep.
Peace.
I think the podcast is fucking sick. If you're listening to it and you're like, I don't know if I want to listen to the next episode of this podcast, you're probably a bitch ass. You need to listen to the next episode of this podcast and keep listening to it. Because my friends down here are trying to make shit happen. And we're going to make some shit happen.